El Cholo Simeone is at it again. He is reinventing Atletico Madrid, and I think this is probably the best they've looked in the last kind of 5 or 6 years, and they have won the league in the last 3 or 4. But with a lot of bad signings made, you know, from Thomas Lemar to Felix, and then even Alvaro Morata, there's just been a bunch of problems at Atletico Madrid over the last couple of seasons, and it's really made their squad really too busy of guys that just aren't good enough. But it feels like maybe a few of them are away to Saudi Arabia, and a few other ones have just made organic moves and left the club. And now, when I look at this Atletico Madrid team for this year, I think El Cholo Simeone has got it cooking again, and this could be vintage Atletico Madrid on the horizon for this season. Simeone's Atletico Madrid has been synonymous with being resolute defensively and taking no prisoners in attack. And, you know, with Griezmann leaving for Barca and then coming back and winning the crowds back over, as well as a few other kind of bits and pieces around there, it just feels like all of a sudden stars have aligned that right now Atleti are sitting super pretty, where they could actually maybe make a real run again at the league, never mind something dangerous in Europe. At any point in the video, if you laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel. We are pushing for 10,000 subscribers before we get to the start of the new European season, and we can't do that without your support. So if you enjoyed the video, please drop a comment and let me know what was going on. Drop a like and subscribe. And let's just get stuck straight into it. The base transfers that really got me looking at Atletico Madrid was when they signed Azplicueta, Calgar Soyuncu, if that's how you say it, and Javier Galan from Celta Vigo. These are 3 huge additions into a defence that has just been subpar, injured, leaking goals, always suspended for what feels like the last 2 or 3 seasons. And when I look at what seems to be the strongest Atletico Madrid team at the moment, a back 3 of Azpilicueta, Stefan Savic and Calgar Soyuncu looks very formidable to me. On top of that, you do expect Azpilicueta might not play all the matches. Soyuncu very rarely completes a full season as well. But in reserve to that starting 3, you still have the same defence they had last year in and behind that. Jimenez, I'm a big fan of, but is always injured. Hermoso is, you know, can take or leave him. And Reinaldo has been a bit of a hero at Atletico Madrid, body on the line defender, which we all love a bit of. But Savic has been brilliant for Atletico Madrid, in my opinion. I think Soyuncu was heavily underrated, and, you know, he did okay in the Premier League, but maybe didn't do his absolute best. And I think Atletico Madrid, he's a no-nonsense defender, he really is. This is going to suit him down to the ground, and I think he could have probably the best season of his career. And Azpilicueta is a bona fide modern-day legend, and he is the exact epitome of a back 3 defender you want in a Diego Simeone defence. Now, Molina was very successful last year. I wasn't a big fan of him, and there is some rumours that he might be leaving, so let's see what happens on this right midfield side. But Javier Galan coming in. Yannick Carrasco has been played in left mid quite a lot, and he's not really a left back, and he's always been like wanting to leave. And with them now signing Galan, an out and out left wing back, a really powerful guy, really strong, who can really run this line. If they can keep Molina, then they finally have 2 really good fullbacks on either side of the pitch. And guys like Rodrigo De Paul, Marcos Llorente, when fit and available, will really benefit from having consistent high-level wide options available to them. But one of the things that brings me to Atletico Madrid today is the final piece of this midfield puzzle. Koke has been on the shelf for a little bit too long. Saul Niguez doesn't really have anywhere to call home at the moment. And, you know, they've went after Verratti, they've went after a few different players across Europe, but it looks like Atletico Madrid are on the verge of signing Emile Højbjerg. And when I say this guy is an El Cholo Simeone midfielder, he is an El Cholo Simeone midfielder. I think he's going to sit in here perfectly alongside Rodrigo De Paul, doing a lot of the dirty work with him and allowing him maybe a little bit more creative freedom to move into these areas, to be able to play some balls into wide space for these wide fullback people that are going to be going on and overloading. Any midfield support that might come from a Llorente or a Pablo Barrios, for example, in from midfield, and that would give Atletico Madrid a whole new weapon that they've not really had much access to, because a front pairing of Griezmann, who was absolutely phenomenal, especially in the second half of the season, once that whole loan, he can't play over 30 minutes a match nonsense was all sorted out. But also in pre-season, we're probably going to get one of the best versions of Memphis Depay. So this duet, this front 2 here, I expect to be very hard working for one another and for the team, and it just needs proper good service. So having De Paul a little bit more freed up, and he can be a bit more comfortable that Højbjerg is going to take the laundry out for him and bodyguard him, cover his back a bit. And this team feels like they could really beat anyone in La Liga, and I include both sides of El Clasico in that. And when it comes to Europe, really, again, when I look at a team like this called Atletico Madrid under El Cholo Simeone, I find it hard to imagine many teams in Champions League will welcome a draw to the Roge Blancos. Lots of set-piece options here as well with Depay and DePaul. And again, lots of guys are capable of winning headers from set-pieces like Soyuncu, Azplicueta, Jimenez, Savic. The lists go on. So it feels like they've got a lot of different routes to go, from individual creativity, set-piece options, as well as the range of passing and the wide options that they're going to have on the counter-attack and in transitions from open play, while holding that strong El Cholo Simeone resolute back five kind of element where they will just not forfeit the defensive third. They just will not let anyone pass, and they will kick and they will scream and they will dive and they will do absolutely everything to stop transitions and to stop breaks after they've had any sort of little period of attack. So I'm expecting a guy like Simeone, who is now one of the trailblazers in European football, one of the longest standing managers at one club currently at the game. He's going through a real dynasty moment, and I really feel this is maybe the third or fourth iteration of Atletico Madrid under Simeone that will be taken very seriously. I think there's still a couple of moves for them to make in this transfer window, and I think it only takes one or two moves before we really see this Atletico Madrid team be looked upon by the wider European football community as being back and being a real force, not just in La Liga, but in Europe. The Molina situation will be really interesting to see how that develops out, because again, he feels nailed on in that right back position, and if he does leave, then they're kind of back to square one. They're back to the drawing board. The initial thoughts and expectations would be they go and sign Arnau Martinez from Girona, and that would be a very much a like-for-like replacement. But at 19 years of age, with only one senior season under his belt, that feels a little bit more of a risk than maybe El Cholo is used to. Whereas Molina, when you signed him from Udinese, he's an Argentina international in his mid-20s, slightly different situation. So still a few things to be ironed out, but I firmly think that Atletico Madrid will be good value for their top three spot in La Liga this year, and they've got every right to be thinking about going even further and beyond that domestically and in Europe. I'll be really interested to see the comments from you guys about how far do you think Atletico Madrid can go this year? Is this one of the best versions of a Simeone team that we've seen from Atletico Madrid? On screen there now is some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.